Does looks and money matter? Sharp Game coming at you with another episode from ChooseYourRelationships.com. Offer of Love Can't Wait, which can be found on Amazon.com. Like, share this video, and subscribe if it's your first time being here. So this is a question that I got from a long-time subscriber. He wanted to know, does looks and money really matter when it comes to dating, having relationships with women? The question that you really should ask, should you depend on looks and money? That's the question you really should be asking me. But I'm going to address this. And see, I have a rule of thumb when it comes to looks, money, or just depending on one thing. I always say, and I repeatedly, consistently always say that the more options you have, the better quality of your life will be. And depending on just one thing, one move, or just having one thing is a recipe for disaster. I've consistently been saying this over the past 3-4 years. See, you don't really want to depend on looks and money. You want to have options, because if looks and money doesn't work, you have no more options. You're done. And depending on one thing, if you have to depend on one thing, man, they got you by the balls. One is a dangerous place to be. One income, one car, one shoes, one woman, one income, one job. It's just a recipe for disaster, because once that one thing, that one income is gone, then what you gonna do? You're in a bad position. That's the only option you had. One car, if that one car breaks down, what you gonna do? You gonna depend on somebody else to take you somewhere? That's not a good strategy. You gonna go get a rental? Yeah, you can go get a rental, but you might have to pay depending on what type of insurance you have. Maybe you don't have that rental insurance policy within your insurance. You know, one pair of shoes. Once that one pair of shoes is done, you gotta go buy and go get another one. One woman. If the woman happens to leave, maybe you never had any friends outside of her. Maybe you made her the spotlight in your life, in the relationship. Once she's gone, now you got to start all over from scratch. You have no friends. You never built or nourished the relationships you had. You let all of them go because of her, because she was so crazy jealous. So if she's gone, everybody's gone. Now you got to start all over from scratch. If you would have nourished those relationships that you had before she got there, you wouldn't have had to start all over from scratch, because one of your friends could have easily introduced you to somebody else, and boom. But you didn't do that. You did. You was like, oh, it's all about her. That's a mistake, you know. And I can go on and on and on. One car, one woman, one income. You get fired, you lost your job, you get laid off. Now what? Now you got to find another job. How long is that going to take? I mean, in this day and time, who can you call up that's going to hook you up with another job? the people that you're going to call up, they're looking for other jobs. So you can't really depend on them for your livelihood. It's not a good strategy. You got to have multiple streams of income. I don't care if it's $20 a month, $50 a month, $100 a month extra. I don't care how much it is. I don't care how much it takes for you to get started. But build that 50 and flip it to $100, to $200, to $400. Keep flipping that money. I don't care if you have to start off with $5. That's $5 that you never had outside of your job. So depending on other people for your livelihood, it's a recipe for disaster. They're not going to ever care about your life and your well-being as much as you. I always say, nobody loves me as much as me. Nobody loves me as much as me. And money only goes but so far. Money is a tool you can use for time, resources. If you can hire other people to help you out, pay people to teach you something new. Maybe you need some training. Maybe you need some courses. Maybe you need to buy some books to learn something new. Maybe you want to travel. Maybe you want to go to conferences. That's what money is used for. Money gives you more freedom. I always say, every man should be responsible for creating more opportunities. The more opportunities you have, the more freedom you have, and the more experiences you have. And that's going to dictate and be predicated upon the life you live. See, some guys will say, man, I ain't getting the opportunities like I should. You have to create those opportunities. If that's the case, the more opportunities you have, the more income you have, the more freedom you have, the more experiences you have. And women just happen to be by default. That just comes with the territory. It's not good or bad. Not positive or negative. But if you're good at doing whatever you're good at doing, and you just happen to stick out amongst hundreds of guys in that environment, which is not easy, which is not hard today, if you happen to stick out, the women are going to find you. The women are going to sometimes chase you down. It is what it is. Some of these women can be groupies. You have to filter them out. That's just what it is. Women like being around the movers and shakers. Some guys have a problem with that. Some guys was like, well, how come she can't accept me for who I am without, why I gotta be based on what I do? Well, what you do sometimes happen to be a part of who you are. The women are meeting you where you at. They're not meeting you where you came from. They don't know where you came from. Well, they might know the town where you came from, the city where you came from. They might have been there before, visited there before. but they don't really know where you came from. They didn't grow up with you. They don't really know where you came from. You can explain it to them, but they don't really know where you came from. They didn't grow up with you. So, unless you grew up with her, y'all from the same neighborhood, same neck of the woods, it is what it is. She's going to meet you where you at that given moment. And there's nothing you can do to change that. You can take her back to where you from all you want. She is not going to understand where you came from. And that's okay. But the point is you want to be a man of options. You want to have opportunities. You want to experience more life. And you want to have people around you that want to experience more life as well. You don't want no dead weight though. People have to be able to pull their own weight. Now, there's nothing wrong with looking out for people, helping out people. Nothing wrong with that. But people have to have a certain drive. They have to be able to pull their own weight. Can't be no dead weight now. Just keep that in mind. But you, as the man, as the leader, you have to lead. You have to be out front and center. Leader of the pack. And at some point, somebody else is going to be the leader of the pack. You have to pass down the baton to somebody. It could be a younger person, like your kids, somebody in your family. That's usually how it goes. You have to pass the baton down. You can't be front and center forever. No. It doesn't work that way. So, you can't depend on, or you shouldn't depend on one thing. This is a team sport. You have to understand the value of friendships and relationships. Nobody does anything major by themselves. Nobody does. I haven't met no millionaire or no successful person that done everything by themselves without the help of a collective group or a team of people. So, in the end, you don't want to depend on looks and money. Does looks help? Sometimes. Does money help? You better believe it. But it only goes but so far. And looks, let's just be honest, it doesn't last forever. You're not going to look the same as you did in the 20s versus being in the 50s and 60s. What about your mouthpiece? Focus on your conversation. Don't flash the cash. Don't be a trick. There's no honor in being a trick. Some people say, it ain't tricking if you got it. No, tricking is tricking. Doesn't matter if you got it or not. Tricking is tricking. There's no honor in being a trick. So should you depend on money, looks and money by itself? No. Tell me what you think. Like, subscribe, leave me a review. Until next time, I'm out. Peace.